Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy. Lilo and Stitch, an instant classic.
Yes.
And you got anything to say about it?
Well, we'll talk about it in a bit.
It'll make the parents cry. I think it'll make the kids laugh. And I was surprised how well they put this together, considering Disney's track record of recent times.
Yes.
And then we have the Japanese bond market. It could be signaling the triggering event for digital currency worldwide, or at least in Japan. Okay, let's get right into it.
So, Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah. If you haven't liked and subscribed, do that now, I guess.
Yes, please do.
We're trying to grow the channel. It'd be a huge help.
So, will Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning fuel a Memorial Day box office record? And we just went to see it, and I spoke about it in the Spanish Live, saying that I am really angry at Disney, knowing that they can achieve something like Lilo and Stitch, and yet they choose to do the exact opposite.
Yeah, well, they've had a long failures of live-action movies with Disney, but this one is an instant classic. I mean, it might be the only live-action that I've actually liked. I can't remember another one that I did. Did you like any of their live-action?
No, I mean, not to make people hate me, but I did kind of like the Maleficent ones, because at least I thought the costuming was great, the storyline was okay, and it was creative still. But everything else they've done, from Beauty and the Beast to Aladdin to, of course, Snow White, has been huge failures and terrible, I believe.
Yeah, it just makes you wish they would have done a better job. It makes you arc back to a time before they started doing live action. With this, man, I don't know, they just somehow hit the mark. Everybody was crying in the theater. I could hear them. No, I didn't cry, but I got emotional inside, and I'm a guy. So for me,
yes.
Man, and they were hitting those emotional points all throughout the movie. They added patriotism and nationalism at the end with a little speech, and you can tell it was added in after to kind of go after the mainstream audience.
And I mean, it's good for kids, as you said, but also for adults. But I think Disney is remembering that their main audience should remain being kids and families, and just also with the rewatchability, I think kids like to see things 20 times over and over again. So I do think there might be even like they go watch it with their parents, and then maybe they want to go, they have a birthday and they all go to the movie. So I think ticket sales will be even higher for Lilo and Stitch than Mission Impossible, because Mission Impossible, it's very long, and a lot of people do consider it to be lacking in narrative and creativity.
Well, and I'll disagree a little bit with you here. I won't say make it for kids. I'd say make it for families, which was your second point. But focus on family values. This movie really did that in a very heartwarming way, and it iterated that through the whole theme of the movie. If you do have kids, I highly recommend it. Even for a date movie, this is a good movie. I was jaw dropped how much I liked it. I knew I was talking about it, saying Disney could come back. I thought I would go to like a kid's movie and somewhat enjoy it. I hope it had traditional values in there. But man, it was truly enjoyable. I was shocked. And I didn't like Mission Impossible. She did. Yeah. But I'm not just reviewing movies on here saying I like them. I really didn't like Mission Impossible, even though I should have, I guess, because it's more my type of movie. But it just didn't draw me in, and it didn't hit the mark. This thing hit the mark over and over and over again. It drew me in fairly quickly. After the animation stopped, as soon as Stitch landed on the planet, it drew me in. All the casting was phenomenal, except for the two aliens that were trying to chase Stitch. When they turned to human form, I would have liked to see two other actors, but that's a minuscule point. Every other actor in that movie really hit the mark.
And I said it in the Spanish one. I thought, yes, maybe they should have kept them as aliens for longer. I think that would have engaged and be even more interesting to see these giant aliens and skinny alien in the real world interacting with the environment and Hawaii. But I thought when they were aliens, the voice was actually good. The voiceover and the voice acting was very good by both Zach Galifianakis and the other guy that I don't know his name. But it did, cost-wise, I think they decided not to do the whole thing animated as it is in the original one, because I think they were trying to cut costs.
And I understand the plot point of they turned into two tourists, but man, it was such an opportunity for the one alien, because he was fat, to turn into a super fat Hawaiian dude that would have really had a funny accent.
The ice cream guy.
Yeah, and would have had a funny accent. It was just such a missed opportunity there. And the other guy, I mean, could have been a lot skinnier. It would have been more funny.
Yes, if they
The
drew
opposites.
more. Yeah, if they
Yeah.
drew more from the like Timon and Pumbaa and all of them.
But the little girl was phenomenal. I gotta say, I don't know who was cuter, Stitch or her, because when she would talk, man, it was just great.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to hit a child actor. That can ruin a movie. And there was no real big actors. I had seen some of the faces, but it's not like when they did Aladdin, oh, we're going to go get Will Smith. We're going to get these actors. These were unknowns, and it really drew you into the authenticity of the movie a lot better.
Well,
and that's funny to say because this is a movie about an alien.
Yes.
And I'm talking about it being authentic. But I used to live in Hawaii with a tribe in the mountains for quite a while. And, man, I really enjoyed this movie.
Yes, and it was great also, I said it in Spanish, to see the scenery, the actual scenes that you see in the animated movie. They went there and shot the actual scenes. So it's nice to see it like also as an almost ad for Hawaii, because they did use a lot of the environment around them. It wasn't just, oh, the story's happening here. It's also involved, like the place is involved. And that's how you do diversity and inclusivity, Disney. You actually go to the place, make a story about the place, and not just insert characters that look a certain way or have a preference of some kind just because. Like here, the diversity makes sense because it's a story about Hawaii with people from Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. And well, what I was going to say, yeah, it really hit the emotional notes. Maybe it was just me, but I didn't have parents growing up. My mother died when I was fairly young. And I used to live in Hawaii for a little while as well. So, man, it really was hitting the heartstrings. And I'm telling you, movies rarely do that for me.
And even, for me, I don't have the exact same story as you, but just the whole talking about family. And also, Stitch is cute as hell. And it kind of also reminded me of our dog. So that also kind of drew me in.
But him being real and the girl being real really made it a lot more cute.
Yes.
It wasn't like you were watching a cartoon. You really felt like he was real at some level.
Yes. And Maya Kealoha, which is a little girl, yes, phenomenal acting. And it's very hard to get a little kid, like a 6-year-old actor, no matter what, to pull those heartstrings, to do those scenes with emotion or with complex emotions where she's jealous or she's angry or she's very happy. Usually they can seem very contrived. There were a few jokes that she obviously couldn't hit properly because of timing, but she's a kid. Great casting and not bending to anyone, I don't think.
Well, and the older sister was phenomenal as well, I have to admit. Yeah. She wasn't, they didn't make her too pretty or too this or that.
She was normal.
She was normal, and she didn't really steal any scenes, and that was her role, was not to steal scenes from either Stitch or her little sister, which was the little girl in the movie.
Yeah, and she also she looks normal. Like, she doesn't have this Instagram face and, like, overly perfected everything either.
I did feel like there was one political thing put in. Maybe it was just looking too much into it, but I always look really into the political aspects, especially of Disney movies, because they disappointed me. But even with this political aspect, I was willing to look past it. But I think they didn't want to put a fat Hawaiian guy as the alien because they didn't want to make him an idiot. So they put 2 bumbling white dudes in the role.
Yes.
But other than that, because I really think a fat Hawaiian would have done perfect and like a skinny, scrawny dude.
But it's funny because they had a shot for shot, and Rafa here, hello Rafa, thank you for being here, is saying, I'm going to watch it tomorrow, so I hope you don't spoil it. If you watched, and I said it in Spanish, if you watched the animated one, it's a shot for shot, essentially. So, like, if you already know the story, you already watched the movie, it's kind of the same. There's some jokes that are different and that are better, some that are worse, but I don't think we could spoil it because the whole narrative is the exact same, luckily, which is what a lot of people have been asking Disney to do. But what they did, what I was going to say is, if you remember the original animated one, there's this big fat white dude that keeps dropping his ice cream or dropping things, and they did change it for a Hawaiian guy who's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling it. But it was funny that they did do that change, and they made it a fat Hawaiian guy that drops the ice cream and not an American fat tourist.
But I will say, if you do have kids, bring your kids to this movie. Yes. They will love it. And they sell these little ears at the thing. Everybody was wearing ears.
You wanted one.
All the kids were dressed, even the older people were dressed up in Stitch costumes. Everybody's really buying into it. And if you do go and you do have kids, I highly recommend buying them the ears because it's a good movie. Yes. So the kids will end up loving the ears, and they'll keep them, and they'll probably wear them around the house. So it's not like just a little product. The kids will end up loving the movie.
And also rewatch the original one because it has merit on its own as well. Like, it still stands up to the test of time, but also the animation style and the drawing is very different than other Disney movies, and they did that intentionally to kind of represent, in the first one, the animated one, Hawaiian culture and the way Hawaiians usually do depictions and drawings.
Yeah, and again, out of the two movies, Mission Impossible or Lilo and Stitch, it's not even a comparison.
No.
Lilo and Stitch is literally hit every mark of a traditional Disney movie, yet it was live action and modern, probably the only good live action remake. And Mission Impossible for me was bland.
And I liked it.
When I say bland, I can say it's not bad, but like I watched it on streaming, and even then, it's 3 hours. It was hard for me to sit through the first hour and a half before shit picked up.
Yes, and with Lilo and Stitch and Disney, I mean, yes, we criticize Disney over and over again because we wish they were doing better because they have so much influence over culture and society and children. But when they do something right, it's also important to tell them by like showing it in the box office, but also just talking about it positively, because I'm not all doom and gloom forever. I won't stay angry forever at a company. I will remind people that they have donated to some very disgusting causes, and done some very disgusting things. But if they're doing something right, and it could be a way to like recover their whole ethos of trying to target the family and traditional family.
I think they're too invested with DEI. The writers in the writers' room refuse to write stuff like this, so there needs to be the order coming from higher up. Let's just remake the classical movie shot for shot. If they're too scared to stand up to their own activist employees, they can just say, "Oh, we're just remaking it because we had success with Lilo and Stitch." That being said, there was one.
Or just be creative and do new stories.
I'm going to be shocked if this movie doesn't make $1 billion. I will be jaw dropped. This is a family film. You're going to bring your kids to it. You're going to probably buy them the little ear things they have, which looks like they cost $2. And the kids are going to want to go back and watch this thing again and again. Every time you take the family, it's like 4 tickets. You, your wife, if you have 2 kids, boom.
And maybe their friends.
Yeah, how this doesn't reach $1 billion would shock me.
So it says here Disney's Lilo and Stitch is projected to lead with a massive $150 million to $160 million from 4,410 North American theaters over the 4-day holiday stretch. Independent tracking services believe the final tally could be even higher based on advanced ticket sales.
Yeah, and let's just remember, Thunderbolts had 7,000 theaters it was in. It completely monopolized theaters. This has almost half as much, and I think it will beat it. I would project
And it's Memorial Day weekend, so like they have a lot of days.
The build-up wasn't good because we did a previous video talking about it, and it didn't get a lot of clicks either, but Spanish, it was quite far out. But now that it's out, I mean, I think the hype should be huge for this movie. I would think a $200 or $250 million weekend, I wouldn't be surprised. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Only, yeah. And here in Mexico, I mean, we did, as you mentioned, the people wearing the ears and having all the merch and dressing up as Stitch. Mexicans, I mean, I'm sorry, but Mexicans love cute characters. I mean, if you remember Tweety Bird and all the old ladies always sending you like Tweety Bird with hearts, and they just kind of get drawn to Pikachu as well. These very cute characters. So I think here as well in Mexico, it's going to be like, it's going to remind people that they used to like Stitch a lot.
One of the big questions is, did it get into the Chinese market? They only allowed 26 films a year, and they've been letting quite a few in since they paused the tariffs. Will this be one? Is that maybe why they're projected to make less? I don't know. I hadn't actually looked into that, but those projections seem low to me. And maybe they're just...
That was U.S., though, I believe.
Okay. If worldwide, I think it's hitting 300 million.
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to make Disney very
And the
happy.
audience was clapping. They loved the movie.
Laughing,
crying, and clapping.
I cried a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. It sounds like we're overly promoting the movie, but man, it was good.
Yes. And I'm still surprised that you liked it so much.
I was surprised, yeah. As soon as we walked
you didn't want to go.
Because when we walked out of Mission Impossible, I was like, I didn't really like it.
And I was like, oh, but I liked it.
As soon as we walked out of this, I was like, man, that was a good movie. Okay, I'm just going to cover this really quick. I covered this on my day show. It's a very complex topic. I'm just going to break it down quickly, and I'm going to clip my afternoon segment about this because I think a lot of economic stories are going to start coming out of this. But the Japanese bond market is collapsing. That is so important because it's so highly connected to the U.S. and EU bond market. If the Japanese bond market collapses, this could be the triggering event for digital currency, definitely in Japan, but I would also expect the EU bond market to follow this, which would cause an economic collapse in country after country after country, like dominoes in the EU, and that will be the triggering point for digital currency there. But the actual target of this bond market collapse is the U.S. and the U.S. dollar specifically. I believe the EU wants it to collapse. I believe this is a direct attack on it, but Trump is trying to prevent that attack by securing the bond market with future values of stablecoin. He's recently legislated stablecoin, and a lot of stablecoins are going to go public, things like this. He's trying to leverage the U.S. economy against the future earnings of the stablecoin in order to save the U.S. dollar. I'm not sure he has got all the segments worked out. He needed more time. I think the EU knows this. I think that's why they're doing this attack now, to try to collapse the U.S. economy and hide their failings so they can cancel their debt and go into a digital currency. I think what Trump wants is to maintain the U.S. physical dollar and then go have a digital stable coin as well.
And I think the more important point you brought up earlier today.
And sorry if this is complex and it's like verbal vomit, but it's really hard to go into depth on this. This is really an hour conversation. I would need to script out, but I would recommend people having water, rice, and beans in their house for at least 90 days. Just buy big bags from Costco. If you don't use them, you can always just start using them slowly after.
And just in general, it's good to have, supplies just in case if you live in Mexico or another country where
I'm not saying prep for a year or anything like this. I'm literally saying 90 days is the best set time, because in this collapse, if this does go the way of a financial collapse into digital currency, it is planned out. All these Western countries have already passed the legislation behind the citizens' backs. I've been covering it on this show. So they want to cause panic so they can come in, offer a UBI or be the saviors with this digital currency so everybody will accept it. And so I think 90 days would be enough to get over the...
And the possibility of there being a run on the banks if people do panic, or, the U.S. dollar, but also other currencies losing a lot of value.
Yeah, because there could be a run on the banks. That would be one of the first things I would suspect or expect. Have some cash on hand just for a few months, just in case.
Yes, and we did panic, Rafa, earlier in the morning, but it's not about panicking. It's just about being prepared, and also just in case anything else happens, it's good to have water and stuff to eat that won't go bad in your house or apartment in general.
And maybe I'll just explain what the bond market is. It's actually the backbone of the financial system. People don't understand this. When governments need to borrow to pay their bills and to buy things to keep the economy running, they buy long-term bonds. That interest rate will dictate how much interest the government has to pay. If they go upside down on it and the interest rates are extremely high, which that's what they are in Japan, the currency itself will then fail, will lose its value, and inflation will soar. And that's where you have the economic panic.
Mm-hmm. And also Rafa says, have you seen Walker? Sad face. And no.
And he wasn't there this afternoon either.
No. So, hope he's okay. We do know works, goes out, lives his life. So
yeah, and
hopefully he's okay. But Walker, if you see this after or you see us tomorrow, we will be waiting for you.
And yeah, I kind of stacked that financial story early just because it was the one story in a long time that I think will have real world consequences. So I'll keep up to date on that. And I'm really looking at the European bond market to be the next to go. Okay, let's go to the next story.
So maybe finally they realized how stupid this idea was. But automakers stopping production of EV vehicles for gas-powered vehicles. Stellantis is moving $338 million to Detroit for a mega hub. The liberal agenda is crumbling.
And I never fell for this bullshit right from the beginning. I was telling every liberal was touting wind energy, solar energy in Canada. Mm-hmm. It's one thing if it's a hot country. And these EVs were just a ridiculous idea from the beginning. They needed to get to... Supposedly there's new batteries coming for them, and if that happens, the Chinese are going to be all over it because they're the only ones that want to keep producing these cars because they were able to properly transition by putting charging stations charging stations in. North America didn't do it. Canada definitely didn't do it. Cold weather countries these EVs suck in. Canada was banking their entire financial future on these EVs. They wanted to transition into EVs. They took major contracts from huge auto manufacturers about the EVs, and now they're all pulling out and they're making investments in the U.S. in gas-powered vehicles. And the politicians are freaking out in Canada.
And then everybody will have Chinese exploding EVs.
Well, no, it would have been, but
I'm against EVs.
I don't mind EVs, but I don't think they're a long-term investment. I think the batteries don't last that long, and even the Chinese. Right now, there needs to be a technological jump, and there's rumors of a battery that goes 1,000 kilometers and charges within 15 minutes. If that's the case, that would be a game changer.
Still don't like it.
We have to this point a statement from our colleagues at Radio-Canada. Scott, to give us some of the further detail, what more do we know?
Well, we're seeing that this is a pullback now that we're seeing from big car companies from their electric vehicle production. The Charger Daytona RT is an electric vehicle. They wanted this to be an entry-level muscle car, but electric, if you will. They're pulling that back. And this follows
Now they're trying to lie.
Car.
This is Canadian. It's considered a muscle car.
But still.
They're trying to lie to the Canadian public and just say, oh, it's this model, it's this model. No, the manufacturing plants are pulling out in mass and making hundreds of millions of dollars of investment in manufacturing plants in the United States for gas-powered vehicles. I mean, there was talk before the election that Mark Carney was going to save all the manufacturing jobs in the auto industry, and now exactly the opposite is happening.
Move that we saw recently just by Honda as far as pulling away from this EV market, with both companies saying that the sales in effect have dropped out and they're turning back to muscle cars without kind of guidance from companies and from countries as far as that EV emission and carbon footprint. Now here's a statement from Stellantis to CBC News saying exactly what's behind this. The production of the Dodge Charger Daytona RT is postponed for the 2026 model year as we continue to assess the effects of the U.S. tariff policies. The Charger's flexible multi-engine platform allows us to focus on the Charger Daytona, that's the gas vehicle, and lean into the new Charger six-pack models that will launch in the second half of the year.
And you have to realize, like, Canada's lost in the sauce here. All their politicians are talking about the future's EV, the future's electric. We're not going to allow Alberta to drill. We're going to handicap ourselves. One of the former finance minister has a different position now. It's the female, and she's the third politician I heard say this. She goes, we have a real opportunity here. We hold real values when the United States doesn't. There's going to be a mass influx of U.S. citizens that want to come to Canada that are highly trained and some of the most desired citizens in the United States. That's completely untrue. There's going to be no industries left in Canada. Americans aren't going to Canada. Canadian citizens are going to the States.
Yes.
Now, according to analysts, the market has dropped out for electric vehicle production. It's not a moneymaker, that more car makers are following where the money is and the demand is, and that's with more gas cars. And we saw the delay of the production line from Honda just within the last couple of weeks. And the second shoe to drop here is that Stellantis is making an investment in the U.S. today as well,
And Stellantis is one of the biggest car manufacturers. It owns a lot of the American car brands and other international car brands. So when they say Stellantis, it's some of the biggest names that you know.
And it's funny how he said, like, oh, the U.S. tariffs might have to do something with it. And then right after he goes and says, oh, they're actually investing in the U.S. and moving production over there.
$388 million they're investing in one company.
$388 million investment in a new Detroit mega hub location. So clearly that is a result, too, of worries about the tariffs and how much more expensive potentially Canadian vehicles will be.
The immediate impact was felt at Stellantis. They shut down production for a couple of weeks. Talk of moving production to the United States. So this is a big blow, and we'll hear, I'm sure, reaction from the city and from people, workers there a little bit later on.
And manufacturing across Canada is shuttering right now. Steel plants, steel smelt plants, everything is just shuttering. They're going to the States. And the Canada just has to be in absolute panic right now. They went on vacation. They said this is the most pivotal point in Canadian history, that they're under attack by the U.S.
And they all just go on vacation.
And then they went on vacation for 2 weeks and took a break.
Let's go drink margaritas.
And the Canadian people voted for it because Pierre Poilievre said he would work they weren't going to take any breaks
nonstop.
until they had everything settled. So, well, why did they take a break? It's obvious. Mark Carney moved the headquarters to New York. Now he has to go back and get his money and transfer it around the world before Donald Trump seizes it. Okay, let's go into the next story here.
So TV writing staffs got more diverse even as jobs dwindled, WGA, so Writers Guild Association study finds.
Yeah, and after watching today's Disney movie that I absolutely loved, I'm convinced AI can write better than
most of the things
most of the writers they have right now, because it's been a 5 to 10 year segment and for Disney where we've had this DEI writers come in and try to change the culture with it, really take a stand, where AI could have wrote the movie today, just put all the traditional classic Disney movies that were well written.
This one was literally like the same script for the animated one, just with people, put people in there.
But the people they have here, and it's interesting, they say they're making massive layoffs in the writing rooms, yet the diversity is getting higher. It just means they're firing all the white writers, which
they'd already been doing for a long time.
Well, and I don't care if you're firing white writers, black writers, whatever, but it's your senior writers that you might want to keep to have really train the new generation, because maybe they've been afraid to speak and actually give critiques of the new writers because of these DEI policies and things like this. I know they have used, especially at Disney, when senior staff would correct the newer staff, they would use that as an excuse to fire them, which was absolutely crazy. You need your senior staff to hand down the knowledge to the new staff, and the only way you can do that is through critiques. It was much like the story we talked about yesterday with the actress. First day on set, somebody said, you might need to get acting classes.
Yes, and that's a valid thing to say, because you want the person to improve and not be drowning in mediocrity, as we have been for the past 10 to 15, 20 years, I would say. But this is coming from Variety, which is a very lefty-leaning source. So it says TV writing staffs have continued to get more diverse, even with far fewer jobs available. The report found that 40% of TV writers in the 2023-24 season were Black, Indigenous, and people of color, up from 32% 3 years earlier. White staff declined from 54 to 45 over the same time frame. So obviously, it's
they've set a quota of 50% for those demographics, at least. Behind the scenes production when I was working. It's hard for them to hit it because there's not even that many people that want to work in that industry. So, yeah.
And also, it's very clear what happens when you fire the people that actually know how to do things, because it happened in Disney within the parks. They fired all of the Imagineers who created a lot of these magical spaces, who knew and had the technical know-how of how to make things and improve upon them as well. They fired all of them because they were old and they were white and they were too dominating. And then they brought in all these people that were not trained, had no idea what to do. And then we end up with Tiana's Bio Adventure, which keeps breaking down, with other rides that keep breaking down. Nothing works.
Same thing happened with their
and they don't know how to fix it.
The same thing happened with their animators. And that was a huge scandal that Film Threat had multiple articles on. I mean, that was a huge series that really showed behind the curtain of what happened to Disney animation. They had their one big Disney animated thing that was supposed to be their 100th anniversary.
Encanto?
I can't remember the name, but it was widely...
Wish.
It was widely regarded as one of their worst animated films ever. And it was specifically because of DEI. And it's not just me saying because of DEI. There was investigative journalists that had whistleblowers at Disney literally saying they fired all the senior staff. They put all the DEI staff on overtime, and then they fired them afterwards. They were done as well.
Yes.
So, okay, let's go into the next story here. FTC.
So FTC versus Meta, the antitrust battle over WhatsApp and Instagram. The long-awaited antitrust trial between Meta and the Federal Trade Commission kicked off on April 14th. Over about 2 months, DC's District Court Judge James Bollesberg is hearing arguments about whether then Facebook illegally monopolized the market for personal social networking services through its acquisitions of both Instagram and WhatsApp.
And this happened during the Biden administration. This case started. So now the Trump administration's in there, and Meta has really done everything to realign itself with the Trump administration, going so far as to appoint one of Donald Trump's best friends, which was Dana White, onto the board of specifically Facebook. So, and they've actually rearranged their entire board staff and people in their company to align with the administration. It's really going to be selection of the judge here. If it's a conservative MAGA judge, I don't think they're going to go forward with it, or they're going to be pretty easy on them. If it's not, and it's a traditional progressive judge, it might go another way. Either which way, I think they're going to be fine, even if they have to divide up into multiple companies.
Yeah, because the FTC is pushing for Instagram and WhatsApp to be spun off into its own companies or whatever.
And this happened with Microsoft a few years ago.
Yeah, but I do think, I mean, I do not love that Meta, now that I even use it more here in Mexico, owns WhatsApp. And I do think that there is an argument to be said for Facebook already had a messaging service. Even Instagram had a messaging service. Facebook had a photo service. Instagram also had a photo service. So they already had the things that they were buying.
Yeah.
So why not let them be their own company?
Well, this is the thing. People ask, well, why is it bad if they have to separate them into 3 separate companies, that there's still going to be 3 successful companies? How does that stop monopolistic practices? It has much more to do with the stock market. This will severely hurt Facebook's stock market value, and they'll never be able to emerge to the same level as when all 3 companies were combined. So... okay, let's go into the next article. Is actually a Disney story as well. Disney villains. I kind of loaded all the stories I didn't have time to talk about in my morning show for the Tonight Show. Do you have the article?
I'm trying to find it.
Okay. So Disney villains
Unfairly Ever After.
Yep.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I was trying to get it. Disney villains Unfairly Ever After. It's what the new part of the park is called. Videos surface online as show prepares to replace Muppet Vision for Disney World's summer season.
And this is absolute garbage. The Muppets are like, man, that's from an era of Jim Henson, one of the people that actually made puppeteering.
Mm-hmm. And that was one of the last projects he kind of worked on.
It's a shame that Disney's going in this direction. They're making bad decision after bad decision. They said they put it there for the summer. I would like them to see them get the Muppets back there.
No, they're not. It's permanent.
Yeah, but it says for the summer.
Yeah, to get it ready for the summer season.
Oh.
So they want to open it during the summer season. And I think this is just a response to Epic Universe and their whole villain land, or like Monsters Land, so where they have Frankenstein, Dracula, etc. So now Disney is trying to tap into their own villains and think that might work. But number one, I think it might be too scary for little kids and too boring and annoying for older kids and people. So
they need to any IPs they have extreme history with, they need to lean into that.
well, that's what they're trying to do.
Well, no, but with Jim Henson, like, it's a whole... I've watched documentaries on him and the entire thing.
But Muppet Vision was getting, because I watch a lot of stuff about the parks, was getting a lot less foot traffic, and people were kind of getting tired of it a little bit.
They could have
so this one I understand more than, for example, getting rid of the Rivers of America, which is iconic and part of the whole park infrastructure. So.
See, I have a different view. I think they should have totally revisited the Muppets and put it in multiple properties so it would bring more walk-in traffic to the actual ride. The reason
But it's not a ride. It was a theater show.
Yeah, stage show. It's having less foot traffic for the stage show because they haven't invested in the IP in other places. That's obvious.
I think the Muppets aren't as a hard-hitting IP that will get people through the door.
I disagree.
But that's what they're thinking.
Okay, well, we'll see.
I don't love the Muppets, so.
Okay.
I'm okay with the villains taking
Muppets is from my
stage.
generation, and it's an absolute...
It's also from mine.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Muppet Babies, yeah.
Yeah, Muppet Babies. It's like, that's perfect. You're like a Muppet baby. Fraggle Rock. Okay. Let's keep going.
Now I have to find where we were.
We were on Musk vows to put hundreds of thousands of self-driving Teslas on U.S. roads by the end of next year.
And it's interesting that we just did a thing about EVs getting less popular.
Yeah, but this is going to happen without a doubt. He got his dealerships and cars were absolutely torched. Trump's going to hand him this. Like, they are going to be connected at the hip. He won the election for him. He's the only electric car company within the United States that can actually do the full manufacturing in the United States. Yes. And I'm not just talking electric cars. I'm talking about full vehicles. Most, even gas-powered vehicles, need parts from overseas. Mm-hmm. He's going to put hundreds of thousands of cars on the road, especially if they're self-driving. It's self-driving taxis is what we're going to look at.
I don't love that.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's going to happen. So when he says it,
But I don't want it
A lot
to.
of people think he's saying it to pump the stock price up.
Yeah.
It's not the case. He has insider information.
And because he's also said, I mean, he was doing the whole Doge thing, and then everybody got mad at him, and now he's saying he's going back to the helm of Tesla.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he got a little bit scared off by everything that was happening.
I don't know. He's going to be fine.
No, he's going to be fine, but I'm saying it's weird that now he wants to fully refocus, and it hasn't even been like 6 months that he was in that position.
Well, no, I don't know. I thought we covered it. Maybe I didn't, but I had read a lot of articles from early on.
I know, he was
only
to
supposed to
exit.
be there for 6 to 12 months.
Yes, but it hasn't been even 6.
Yeah, it's been 6.
No, he started in
2,
January.
3, 4, so 4, but he's going to probably be there for about 2 more, so it would be about 6.
Still,
Okay.
I have mixed feelings about Musk. Next.
Robots are going to be huge, and that's the main thing Tesla's working
I
on.
don't
That's
want
going
that.
to really pump that company to the next level, or it's going to fail at that point because
They're
although
gonna take over?
robots are supposed to be big, I'm looking at what's on the market and kind of the technology it developed.
Well,
And
there was a robot that tried to attack its own handler
but
the other
it
day.
seems nowhere near what they're projecting it
To be?
as is. Yes, I think they're really just trying to get more investment money.
Or maybe just
pump
the
up stock.
commercial, the public market ones don't work, but the ones for war and the ones that get developed for other stuff maybe are more
I see the
advanced.
Russian war bots, and they don't look like they're working
Because
either.
it's Russia.
No, I'm telling you, I follow robotics extremely closely, and yeah, they're somewhat advanced. They're not ready for market anywhere near the time they're projected.
Well, that's good, because I don't want a robot takeover anytime soon. We're still dealing with other things right now. But Trump did do something good. So the House passes one big, beautiful bill in massive win for Trump. The reconciliation package now heads to the Senate.
So yeah, it still has to pass the Senate, but this was the best idea by Trump. They were going to put it into 2 separate bills. If that happened, the Democrats would have knocked one of those bills down by getting a couple of Republicans to come over to their side. With this, this was supposed to get knocked down in the House. Trump was able to put so much pressure on all the Republicans. It passed, and that's expected to be what's going to happen in the House as well. He really needs this to pass. No more tax on tips is in here, and all of the funding he needs for all of his projects are in there, as well as to try to really stave off the European Union from attacking the U.S. dollar. He needs a lot of legislation and stuff that's in that bill for stablecoin and digital currency, so we can try to save the actual U.S. dollar on the global market, because that's where the majority of the U.S. power derives from, is the fact that they have the world currency. So if that ever collapses, the U.S. is in big trouble. What's expected to happen is actually the stablecoin will save the physical monetary money, and the U.S. may start operating on two different currencies. The U.S. physical currency will be a global currency, and then the stablecoin will be an internal currency, so they can price fix how much each dollar is worth, which would be very helpful for Americans.
Yes.
And offer a maximum amount of freedom when places like the EU and Canada, when they're going to move into their digital currency, it's going to be completely programmable. There's not going to be another option of an actual physical currency, unless Donald Trump's able to save the U.S. dollar. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's continue.
Sorry, if you hear that noise, it's our own little Stitch trying to dig her way to Hawaii, apparently. She wants to go meet the other Stitch. Okay, enough.
That's fine. Let
There
her
we
be.
go.
Let her be. She's having a
Well,
good
she
time.
can't get to Hawaii, so okay.
Oh, we showed this today.
Yeah.
But this was a crazy clip. And why don't you read the headline, and then we'll listen to the clip real quick.
So the UK police arrest a man for sharing a social media post that caused somebody anxiety. Why am I in cuffs? Because of something he shared than I shared. Because someone has been caused anxiety based upon your social media post. That's why you've been arrested.
Yeah, so just to explain it a little slower, is somebody posted something, this man reposted that thing, it caused the original poster of the thing to have an anxiety. And he called the cops on him, and now the cops in the UK looks like they're broadening past hate speech. If something was considered hate speech, like a meme, you could be arrested for it. Now you don't even have to have hate speech. If it causes somebody the feeling inside of having anxiety, you can now be arrested for it. And the cop says, obviously you cause anxiety, so we're arresting you.
Which is completely subjective.
It's completely subjective.
These cops are causing me anxiety. Can somebody go arrest them?
The guy that made the original post might have caused this guy an anxiety from posting the original thing. So he got rid of his anxiety by reposting it.
Yes. Reminds me of that meme of that Mexican
The UK
in Spanish.
is freaking crazy. But again, I said on my morning show, they're trying to broaden in these anxiety laws or these emotional laws that really have no real structure to them. Yeah. It's just if somebody feels a way, then now you can be arrested. Tommy Robinson's being left out of jail. And they've recharged him with similar crimes to these anxiety crimes. So they want to set the precedent before he goes back to court. So I expect to see a lot more of these cases.
And Tommy Robinson is an activist against immigration that got arrested in the UK because he was saying the truth too much.
But the truth is now what the UK government is actually aligning with. They're saying the same things Tommy Robinson did, but they don't want him saying it. Yes. Only they can say it.
Well, what did it need to come to?
Tell us why you escalated it to this level, because I don't understand. I posted something that he posted, you come to arrest me, you don't arrest him. Why has it come to this? Why am I in cuffs? Because there's something he shared, then I shared.
Because someone has been caused, obviously, anxiety based upon your social media post. That's
not his.
Why you've been arrested.
Well, that's going to be like... The issue with this is the UK just wants to really start arresting people and filing like numbers on people, because what happens in a situation like this? He's like, okay, well, why didn't you arrest the original poster? Because I just reposted it. I'd like to file charges now. So then they're going to go ahead, okay, and arrest both. Yeah. Which does the country absolutely no good.
No,
okay.
And even the cop sounds a little bit incredulous that he has to do this.
I didn't get that feeling. When he said obviously,
but it was like he couldn't even remember why he was there. I felt he was like, well, because it was a social media post obviously caused someone anxiety, and that's why I'm here. Like, but he sounded kind of like, I don't know, I'm just here to do my job.
I think but he shouldn't be doing his job. But he shouldn't be
doing it. I know, but
he should be saying no to things like this. And walking away and then questioning the actual reporter of the incident, saying you're the one that reported it.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
I hope that causes you anxiety.
Why aren't we arresting you? You're the... Okay, so he posted it. The second guy reposted it, which gave him anxiety. But if he would have never originally posted it, he would have never gotten anxiety. So he gave himself anxiety by that point?
No, he didn't get... No. So this guy shared something which made someone else have anxiety.
No.
Yes.
Rewind it. No. Somebody posted and he reposted the original guy's thing, and the original guy called the cops on him.
No, it wasn't the original guy.
Yes, it was. Rewind it. Read the headline as well.
UK police arrest a man for sharing a social media post that caused somebody anxiety.
Okay, play the thing.
No, he's pointing to a friend saying something he shared. Go
up on the thing here.
Says, why am I in cuffs? Because of something he shared, then I shared.
Then I shared.
Because someone has been caused anxiety based upon your social media post.
He shared, then I shared.
But that means, yes, he's pointing to a friend. There's two people there talking to the cops.
Okay, anyway, let's go.
I know I'm right.
No, you're not. Let's go to the next story. We're in an argument.
Oh, we're not supposed to fight. Yeah, we're not supposed to fight. Sorry. We love each other.
At times.
Ohana. Michael Bay.
Mainly when you're sleeping. Nice and quiet.
That's why I stay up all night, so I don't have to put up with him. Michael Bay to direct a movie about viral meme that could be the next Marvel. Skibbity Toilet has millions of followers after becoming a sensation on YouTube.
Okay, and I have a correction to make.
I don't know why the movie's
I have a correction to make. Somebody left a comment on my thing. And I was
English
very clear. I knew nothing about Skibbity Toilet. It's a huge meme and a huge series of a web series. I did a lot of research this morning and got as much as I could, but I guess I said it looked like it was clipped from a video game, and it does look like it's clipped from a shitty video game. I will stand by that, but it wasn't. It is actually original computer animation that looks like a shitty video game that has no dialogue. People actually love it. One of the fans got into the comment section and gave me hell for it. So yeah, I was wrong this morning. It wasn't a video game clip to make a story. It was original computer animation, or however you want to say it. So
it's still shitty and annoying.
But I think it's going to be very successful based on the fan base. Rarely will I have somebody come in on a... nobody even watches my morning show except for Rafa and Walker.
Thank you.
A new customer came in based upon Skibbity Toilet.
and to correct you, to be angry about it.
So,
Yeah.
But I was wrong. But I think it will be successful after doing the research and seeing what a fan base it has. And I did actually watch a little bit of the original series, even though I didn't know it was original computer animation. I thought it was clipped. But it definitely has a definite feel that Michael Bay can hit from Transformers. So.
But again, I'll reiterate what I said this morning as well. I think it might not do so well because it's Gen Alpha and the younger Gen Z that are all into this whole stupid skibbity toilet thing. And they have the attention span of a fly. They only watch TikTok, and they just, when you try to kind of explain and make it into a wider narrative, you're going to lose all these kids that...
No, because apparently the guy that was complaining on my thing was watching the original series. And that's what I said to you. I said, I think the original series was actually more popular than the memes. And that being said, Michael...
Also because I think they brought it into Roblox, which a lot of these stupid children also like. Sorry if you like it. I'm just... Yeah.
Well, and Michael Bay actually knows how to direct for short attention spans. Everything looks like a music video, a lot of sexuality, fast cars, and then action sequences. So it's broken up into like short attention span type of movie.
But still, I mean, Minecraft movie did well, but did it do as well as they were expecting it to?
Oh, more than, it was a fucking hit. $1 billion it made.
And Rafa says, I can't believe there's a skibbity toilet wiki. Wiki is like where they explain stuff. I've been watching those clips all day, and it's all a guy's fault. It's all your fault. Yeah, I had to rewatch some of it just to like remind myself what the hell that was, because he had no idea. I at least knew
but that's why
a little bit about it.
I researched a little bit, and then it really gets into your head. After I seen the song, I went down a full rabbit hole. I actually watched full episodes, which, man, yeah. But
and
now I know.
I feel like it's more of a guy thing. Like, I just don't get it.
But I started singing it, and you were hating me for it.
Yes, because all my students
skibbity,
I used to have,
toilet.
used to do the exact same thing, and it's annoying. And they yell it all the time. Skibbity. I hate it.
Okay, let's go.
So I will not be watching that, even if people ask me to.
Oh, well,
you can watch it and do your review.
I wasn't the only person that didn't know. Why don't you read my notes from this, just like we did in the afternoon, in case somebody doesn't know what skibbity toilet is, because we didn't know you explaining it right now.
No. So, Skibbity Toilet is a viral animated YouTube series created by Alexei Gerasimov, known as Daf Q Boom, which debuted in February 2023. Produced using source filmmaker, it depicts a surreal war between toilets and human heads called Skibbity Toilets and humanoids with electronic devices like CCTV cameras, speakers, or TVs for heads, known as the Alliance, cameramen, speakermen, and TV men. The series, characterized by its absurd dialogue-free narrative and scatological humor, meaning poo, follows an escalating conflict with complex lore, including battles, betrayals, and a new enemy, the Astro Toilets. The Skibbity Toilets sing a mashup of Timbaland's Give It To Me and Bicer King's Dum Dum Yes Yes, which became their anthem. The series has exploded in popularity, especially among Gen Alpha, amassing over 65 billion YouTube views and 15 billion TikTok views, with 38 million subscribers to Gerasimov's channel by early 2025. And it's stupid.
Well, they got 65 million. Wait, hold on. That can't be true. 65 billion YouTube views?
That's what it says there.
I got that from an article.
So then, yeah, probably.
And 38 million subscribers. Wow. 65 billion views? Yeah, that's got a built-in audience.
35 billion views says this one, so either 35 or 36 billion, but still.
65.
Too much for brain-melting rot, in my opinion. But I mean, I'll also say, like,
and Rafa knew right what it was when I said it.
Everybody knows, because anybody that's ever on the internet, on the younger side of the internet, I'll just say, knows what it is, because you have to interact with the stupid thing every so often. And I had students that were Gen Alpha for a while, so that's why I knew. High school students.
Okay, let's go into some of the...
whose brains had melted. But I will say at least from my generation, we had stupid stuff like that as well that was annoying as hell. Even the beginnings of YouTube, like those whole, like the shoes video on YouTube, that guy singing about shoes, also Gangnam Style became, planking was a thing. So like, we also did stupid shit. But this one's particularly annoying because it's like the continuation of mediocrity and stupidity.
I'm going to be very interested in who they cast in this movie. Because they're going to need a big name.
It's going to be a lot of CGI as well.
Yeah, but they're going to need a big name.
Who looks like that guy?
The
toilet.
Well, it's post-apocalyptic, so I'm thinking the perfect person for it would be the guy from Mad Max. What's his name?
Which one? There's a bunch.
The new Mad Max. Tom
The one
Hardy.
that looks like you?
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like me.
He used to look like you.
Tom Hardy would be the perfect fit for that movie because people see him in a post-apocalyptic role from Mad Max.
But would you
and
want to do that stupid stuff?
Yeah, I just hope they don't try to get a strong female woman.
It would be, oh, please do that. I want to see the reaction of Gen Alpha, who's now turning more conservative to a skibbity, stupid movie all about a woman.
Well, if you give her a toilet head, then I don't mind a strong female character.
True. Rafa says, we need a net react to skibbity toilet video. Maybe I'll film one of me reacting to the inane stupidity of it. Not that I think I'm above it, but I really hate it because of the interactions I've had with that IP.
After reading about it, I actually want to see it.
Yeah.
So
You can go and review it.
I know, I'm going to force you to come.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you will.
You can't force me to do
yes.
anything. Judge vacates federal rules requiring employers to provide accommodations for abortions. And you go.
No, I don't want to take your thunder. Bolts.
A federal judge on Wednesday struck down regulations requiring most U.S. employers to provide workers with time off and other accommodations for abortions. The ruling by U.S. District Judge Joseph Lelette of Louisiana was a victory for conservative lawmakers and religious groups who decried the Equal Opportunity Commission's decision to include abortion amongst pregnancy-related conditions in regulations on how to implement the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, which passed December 2022. And I mean, the main thing I said with this is that technically, in my opinion, unless it's like a medical necessity that a doctor has prescribed, which is still fully legal under everyone, even the states that have banned abortions, where it's medically necessary, recommended by a doctor, that's never banned and never will be banned, probably, because it's to save the life of the mother and or the child. But in my opinion, abortions are elective procedures. So I don't know how many employers would let you get time off for a nose job or for a boob job.
This is the one topic I think in the next 10 years is going to completely flip and shift, and the progressive liberals don't realize it. They think this is the issue they're going to win every election on, and things are about to completely change. I'm already seeing in the debate sphere the arguments that are being had, but specifically with the amount of immigrants that come into these countries, if the bond market in a few countries do collapse, say in Japan or in the EU, what's going to happen is a universal basic income is going to come in, and the native people of that land are going to realize less people means more basic income for us.
True.
And,
I hadn't thought about that one.
And so it's really, the debate is really changing on every level, and the main thing of economic collapse, if it does happen, that's not even in this debate yet. When that does happen, if that does happen, or digital currency happens, that debate's going to really change.
But I mean, also more and more, I do keep seeing opinions and things out there on TikTok, and women, just normal women speaking, women, why can I say that word? Speaking their minds about either regretting having an abortion, regretting not having children, and now reaching ages where they can't, or having to now rely on IVF, which is completely doesn't work all the time, and there is a very low probability of older women to get pregnant. So the discourse around children, pregnancy, families is also changing within Gen Alpha, Gen Z, who are realizing, well, maybe all of these lies that we were told for so long by all the millennials and the older adults we're surrounded by, who are now crying and regretting having been in like jobs and just working their whole lives, maybe also that'll reduce it, because they might say, well, if my fertility declines when I'm 27, then it might actually be a good thing that I got pregnant younger. So
okay, let's go into the next one.
And I also had just a quick thing here, also speaking about abortion. House passes bill defunding Planned Parenthood, which I mentioned when we did that story. This is from Live Action. But the U.S. House of Representatives today, narrowly passed the reconciliation bill, which includes, so this is in the big beautiful bill, a provision to defund Planned Parenthood from money coming in from the government. The vote in favor of the bill was 215 to 214, with every Democrat on the floor voting no because they're convinced that it's a big issue. Republican representatives...
And I will say it is a big enough issue right now, but within the next 5 years, that issue is going to absolutely flip, and nobody really sees it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then some, like 2 Republicans voted no. The bill now heads to the Senate for approval.
And I will say, this is about defunding Planned Parenthood. It's in that bill, which is a huge thing. But they're about 10 votes away from actually getting rid of Planned Parenthood totally within the United States, which would be fantastic. Will that happen? I don't know. I think the defunding is good enough. They need to offer a different service, a pro-life service that offers diapers,
Support.
formula, financial support for anybody that does want to keep the kid, showing them adoption options if they don't want to keep the kid, and as an absolute last resort, an abortion.
Because percentage-wise, I mean, most abortions, like all of them almost, except for 1 point, I don't remember the exact percentage, are elective abortions, which means it's women choosing to do that, not because they have some medical issue or grape or the other disgusting one that is usually like the one permissible time when people usually are kind of more okay with abortions. But them being mostly elective means that a lot of these women are getting them because they don't have the support, because they don't see it viable to have a child at that age or at that stage in their lives.
Well, testosterone is lowering in dramatic levels. It's down by 50% in the last 10 years. So that's testosterone levels. So that happening and fertilization levels going down as well. Women are having a lot of issues. It's going to be harder and harder to have kids. So whoever can have kids, I think is going to become something really special.
Yeah,
again.
it's children of men.
Yeah.
But Trump said, now it's time for our friends in the United States to get to work and send this bill to my desk as soon as possible. He said on Thursday morning, there is no time to waste. House Speaker Mike Johnson said the goal is to have the bill on Trump's desk by the 4th of July. The Senate will consider the bill under budget reconciliation rules. Last year, Planned Parenthood, the nation's largest abortion business, received $800 million in taxpayer funding. But since Trump took office, pro-lifer leaders have been pushing to defund the abortion giant. According to Planned Parenthood's 22-23 annual report, it ends the lives of 402,000 babies a year in the United States through various methods of ending these lives that include pills, D&E, etc.
This is basically saying the U.S. is headed in the right direction, which is great, but other countries are not. Countries like Canada, we reported yesterday, children are allowed to have their own abortions now, meaning through the MAID program, a child doesn't need their parents' consent to end themselves, which is absolutely crazy to me.
And also, Planned Parenthood is not just about abortions. Now they're also about giving hormones to underage children that are gender confused and maybe turning them into medical patients for life. And also, Planned Parenthood in the beginning was also supposed to be, other than the actual founder, Margaret Sanger, what her goal was. But Planned Parenthood always said that they were also there for STI testing and treatment and cancer screenings and Pap tests and breast screening. And all these services have declined as the funding for abortion has increased, and also gender services. So,
okay, let's go over to Rumble now.
RUMBLE?
Yeah, RUMBLE.
Okay.
So
You don't want to do the judge stuff?
No, we'll do it on Rumble. Okay, we're going to head over to Rumble. That's RUMBLE, the Green Monster. Join us over there. We'll do the last few stories so we can speak more freely, although I've kind of forgotten to censor myself on YouTube tonight. So.
Yes. Always. But thank you. Thanks, Rafa. We'll see you over at RUMBLE and everybody else that's over here, because the next stories, YouTube will get angry at us, but they're very interesting and very important as well. So come join us over there.
Okay.
So I'm ending the stream now.
We'll start with, tell me when you're ended.
Ended.
Okay, we'll actually start with the last story, which is Israel.
Okay. Hold on.